Hi, this is Kathie from Craft with Kathie. Thanks for joining me today. I'm coming at you from the suburbs of Chicago. Why don't you drop a line below and let me know where you're viewing from. And if you have any questions, please comment below. Today's project is going to be using the Heart Wreath. I think this is such a beautiful transfer. If you want to give a shout out, let me know where you're viewing from. I'd love to say hello and know where my audience is. That would be great. We're all anxious for spring around here. The tulips have started breaking through the ground, and it's just so beautiful to see that bright little green stems coming up, to know that spring is really finally going to be here. I know it seems like it's been a long winter, and it really actually has been mild, but it's just been tough, I think, being in as much as I have and whatever. So I'm grateful to see any signs of spring, and the birds start chirping around here about 4:45 in the morning. I don't know if that's good or bad. They sound very sweet and happy though, so that kind of brightens my day also. So today's project is going to be using the Heart Wreath transfer. The wreath transfer comes with two phrases, love never fails and love is home. And I think they're both very, would go very nicely with this wreath in the center or possibly below. It really depends. You've got a lot of flexibility with it. I'm going to be doing this on a flat canvas panel. This is 8 by 8 inches, and it fits very well for the wreath. It's a good size. And I have actually used this once before on the canvas panel, just as it was. This time I've actually coated it with just one quick layer of Mod Podge, just to see if it makes any difference or whatever. I thought, try it. But I think previous results were very nice. Oh, and you know what? I might as well show you. I use Couture Coral for the chalk paste and different color greens for the leaves. And then also Peachy Keen for what to me looks like echinacea flowers. And I think this turned out kind of nice. I just added a little bit of ribbon in the same color scheme, and then a couple rhinestones to brighten it up, because I thought it needed a little something. Anyway, on to the next one. Before I begin, I need to fuzz my transfer. This is a fuzzing towel. You can use a regular towel, that's perfectly fine. One side of my fuzzing cloth or towel is like a terry. The other side is like a microfiber. And to fuzz it, I always use the terry side. And the idea behind fuzzing is I want to deliberately, which I know this sounds crazy, but I want to deliberately add fuzz or lint to the back of my transfer. Our transfers are not stencils, they are transfers. They're made out of vinyl and silkscreen. The white is the silkscreen, and they have a backing, a kind of a waxy paper that they're stored on, because our transfers are adhesive and can be reused multiple times, basically 8 to 12 times with proper care, sometimes more, depends really. This is the backing sheet for the transfers. You can see that one side is kind of shiny. This is the side that you put the adhesive on so that it doesn't stick and you can peel it off. The other side is a little bit dull, and I put the name of my transfer on it. The purpose behind it is twofold. One, I know that this particular backing sheet goes with this transfer if I have multiple transfers that I'm using for a project, and it also alerts me to the fact that this is the dull side, and I take care then to place the sticky side or the adhesive side against the shiny, so that it's easy to peel it off. So I'm going to deliberately put lint on here so that my transfer doesn't stick as strongly. And I really don't have to fuzz this too much for a canvas panel, because I want this to stick snugly. But if I was putting this on glass or metal, I would fuzz it quite a bit because I don't want it to stick as strongly. Now this has been previously used on the project I just showed. And all I do is center this. Might be a little bit off there. Oops. Let's try that again. And then press it in place. And when I press the transfer down, I want to take care to make sure that there are no air bubbles. If so, I would lift up the transfer and press the air bubble out. You want a nice snug fit, so when I apply the chalk paste, the paste goes through the silk screen and onto the back of the canvas without any bleeding or anything. Okay, this looks good. So I want to do something rather simple for our living room, and I think I just grabbed the wrong container. Of course I did. I have that one stuck. Excuse me for a moment. Now before I begin, I want to check the consistency of my chalk paste. I'm going to use a little stir stick to stir this up and see what it looks like. I want it to be the consistency of yogurt or sour cream. Not too thick, but not too thin. This is a little thick. So I'm going to spritz it with distilled water and thin it down a little bit. This happens to be our silver shimmer paste that I'm thinking would go nice with the gray walls in the living room. Oh, let's see. I might need to give that another little spritz. Our shimmer paste comes in silver, gold, and copper. Ooh, and red. But I think it gives a nice little sparkle, a very subtle, understated sparkle when we use it. Oh, look at, this is why I couldn't open up the other jar. Didn't take the care to wipe off my lid, and the jar, I'm going to have to run under warm water and do a little cleanup on it. I know better. Sometimes you're just in such a rush to get on to the creative part. You need to do a little bit of housekeeping things along the way. Really not too much to do with our tools. It's easy cleanup. Our paste can be removed with water and a paper towel. Goes on liquid, but dries hard. And this is chalk paste, P-A-S-T-E, not paint. Totally different type of thing. And it works great for our projects. Our transfers and our paste can be used on many different non-porous surfaces, such as wood, blackboard or chalkboards, dry erase boards, galvanized metal, glass, mirror, basically anything non-porous that doesn't move. Well, I guess you could use it on something that moves too. If you have a porous surface like fabric or something of that nature, then a better application instead of using our paste would be to use our inks. So I am going to take a squeegee and apply some paste to my project. Ooh, I think I really took too much here. And then just use the squeegee to cover the area. Of the design. Now, yes, I definitely used too much here. I'm cleaning it off, making sure there aren't any lines or issues, and making sure I have good coverage going through the chalk screen, which it looks like this has been very easy and quick. And then I'm removing any excess chalk paste. and returning it back to the container. Hence the cleanup. You want to make sure you remove it from the edge with a little stir stick, put it back in the bottom of the jar to be used later. Okay, so all I need to do now is peel up my transfer and reveal the image below. What do you think of that? Normally I have a water bath near me and I didn't actually fill the little tub. So let me excuse myself for a moment and go rinse this transfer. Wow. And then I'll show you how we clean it and maintain our transfers. Okay, I just rinsed this off very, very quickly. Cover my paste because I don't want it drying. I added distilled water to the paste to thin it down, and you don't want to use tap water because it's quite possible that tap water has impurities in it, so that's why you use the distilled. And you add enough water until you feel that it's the correct consistency. If your paste becomes a little bit too loose or too thin, then just leave the cover off until it thickens up a little bit, and it'll be fine. Okay, so I've rinsed the majority of the paste that was left on here off, and now I'm just cleaning the top with a Clorox wipe. My transfer is not sticking to my surface because the back of it was wet. So after I've cleaned the front, then I flip it over and use my Clorox wipe and gently wipe away the lint that I deliberately put on it with my fuzzing cloth. Removing the lint will rejuvenate the adhesive, and I'm going to show you a little trick to get a little bit more life out of your transfers. Generally 8 to 12 uses, but I have gotten more. Now, I've cleaned the front and the back of this transfer, and I'm going to gently lay it down, sticky side up, on the microfiber side of my fuzzing cloth. And then I'm going to just gently fold it over and press a little bit, which helps dry it a little bit more quickly. And for some reason, just pressing the microfiber on the adhesive like that, the adhesive side of the transfer, makes it a little bit more sticky than it would have been before. So now I'm going to put this aside to dry, and when the transfer, it's already pretty sticky, when the transfer is dried, I will then put the backing, or return it to its backing. So I guess the question is here, what do I want to put in the center of the heart wreath? Should I go with Love Never Fails? Love is Home? This might be kind of a good, I think I'm going to go with the Love is Home. Considering what's going on in the world right now and all the chaos we've been facing, I think it's apropos. We're under a shelter at home status right now, hopefully to flatten the curve of the spread of COVID-19. So love is home. And I think what I'm going to use the chalk paste for the wording is my Current Jam. I just love this color. And our living room is in gray and mauve and kind of like this, I don't know, it's Current Jam. It's a deep pink burgundy, not quite burgundy, more of a pink than burgundy, I don't know, like Current Jam, I suppose, right? And as you can tell, this hasn't quite dried yet, and so I don't want to touch it, but it will be drying soon. like I said, our paste goes on liquid and then dries hard. If I were using this on a blackboard instead, or a chalkboard instead of on canvas, because canvas is kind of like cloth, but if I was using it on a blackboard or a chalkboard, I could use it, make my design, finish it, and then in a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever, when I tire it and I want to reuse that chalkboard, all I'd have to do is spritz it with some water and wipe it with a paper towel. And we have a new scraper that works great for removing old paste from chalkboard. And then my chalkboard's reusable. I could do another design on it. Now this paste, I accidentally left the lid off, so I had to reconstitute it. I cleaned up the edges, spritzed it with water, and stirred it up. It took a little work. I'm never going to let that happen again. I have to admit I did a lot of stirring to rejuvenate it, but if you do that, don't throw your paste out. It's easy enough to remedy. Just add some distilled water and work it with a stir stick or one of our multi-tools. This is great. The little hook area gets right underneath the edge of the lip of the jars. Just stir it up, and the other side, multi-tool, can be used as a squeegee on your projects to get in the smaller or the tiny areas as opposed to a squeegee. But you can also, when you have small areas to chalk, you can cut your squeegee into pieces like I've done here, and that lets me get into like when I colored the leaves different colors or the flower, it's easier to use this than a whole piece. Just some hints here. So I've written on the back of my transfer sheet the name of it, and I need to fuzz this transfer before I can apply it to my surface and chalk it. And another idea I have for this transfer is borrowing the word mom from a different transfer and then just putting mom in the wreath. I think that would be kind of nice as a Mother's Day gift of some sort. I don't know if you could hear it, but there's a little bit of noise when you lift it from the cherry portion. Okay. Having never done this on something I've Mod Podged, I wasn't quite sure how long that would take to dry. But I think we're good to go here. So, let me put my Love is Home in the middle. And I want to smooth it down. I'm not going all the way out to the edges because I don't want any chance of, when I lift it, pulling up some of the silver shimmer. But I think that will be fine. So I'm going to use the current jam to chalk my saying. Cleaning it up and removing the excess and putting it back in my jar of paste. Looks like I have pretty good coverage there. I'm going to lift the transfer. You always want to lift your transfer from the top, the bottom, the left side, or the right. You never want to grab it by the corner. You can lift it by the corner, but you never want to pull because this is like a fabric, and if you pull it on the bias, you could distort or stretch it. Love is Home. What do you think? So, I've been playing with these little wooden hearts, and I'm thinking, should I put something on it? Maybe love never fails? These are wood, and I actually painted them today with diluted chalk paste. And I think I'm going to put Love Never Fails on this one in a mauve-y. I've got my mauve chalk paste here. Let me stir it up. Oh, it looks like it might be a little bit thick. A little spritz of distilled water to it to thin it down. It's a nice idea when you're finished using your chalk paste that you stir it up, clean up the edges, and then before you put the lid on, just put a little bit of spritz of distilled water so that it keeps it moist if you're not going to be using it for a while. Okay, this looks pretty good. So, back to the fuzzing cloth. Should I put it on an angle? I think that's what I'm going to do. Instead of trying to center it and be perfect, well, I might bring it a little bit further down here. I think that's good. Grab a little squeegee. I'm going to make sure there's no lines in my chalk paste and that the paste has gone through the white area. This looks pretty good. And I'm just going to scrape off the excess, put it back in my jar, take a quick look. I think that looks, oops, I have a little glob on there. Okay, let's see what it looks like. Love never fails. Oh, I like that. It almost looks like the wording has a dimension to it. It's kind of pretty. I was tempted to go with a green, but I think the marvelous paste looks good. Our new water bottle gives just the right amount of spray in one squirt for thinning down your paste or putting that extra little water at top to keep it moist. I mean, you don't have to do that, but I find that my chalk paste is less apt to dry out if I use it. Okay, I have another flat canvas panel that I wanted to try something a little bit different on. I haven't put these in a water bath because, like I said, I forgot to bring my little tub over to my work surface, but I will be quick with this. I'm going to use our sage chalk paste, honeydew, and meadow greens, and just do the leaves on the heart wreath. And then I'm going to see about putting some paper flowers on them. We'll see what that looks like. Move this out of the way for a moment. Okay. That definitely needs some distilled water in it. Oh, that looks like it's pretty nice consistency here. I might have made that a little bit, no, too thin. No, I think that's good. Stir it up, stir it up. Okay. And this is my honeydew. I haven't used this in a while, so add some water to it. In nature, things are not one shade of green. Generally, flowers and plants. And if you look closely, you'll realize just how many different shades of green there are in your garden or in your yard. So when I do this wreath again, I want to use some different shades of green and blend them together a little bit for a little bit more of a realistic look. Okay, I can't get the jar open. How embarrassing. I had a run-in with a car door a good number of years ago, and he had, oops, there we go, and he had to have surgery on my hand. And because I broke, I broke the bone, and needed a plate put in. So my left hand is not quite as strong as it used to be. Okay, this is pretty hard. So to reconstitute it, I'm not going to use it today for this project. I'm just giving it 2 little spritzes, I'll make it 3, of distilled water. And maybe we'll give it 4. I must have left the lid off or not had this actually the lid on properly. Ooh, let's give it a little bit more. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside and come back to it later today. Move my crumbles of chalk paste out of here. The 2 colors of green will be fine. So I've had my transfer drying, and I'm going to fuzz it just to put a little bit of, you can hear that stick, a little bit of lint on it. Whoa. And then center it on my canvas panel. I'm going to smooth it out, make sure there's no air bubbles. If you have an air bubble under the transfer where the silk screen is and you want to push paste through it, the paste will not go through it evenly. So you want to lift it up and flatten it out. Or if you don't notice it beforehand, wipe off the paste as soon as possible and redo it. So let's see. I want these little seed pods to be more the lighter color, so I'm going to add a little sage there. I'm going to avoid the flowers because I'm going to use paper flowers, but I still want a little bit of different colors in my greens. A little bit of shading there. That might be enough. And if I do get some green where the flowers are, it doesn't matter because I'm going to cover it with the paper flowers anyway. I just want to make sure that I don't get a dab of the sage green on my stir stick and throw it back into my jar. because then that would alter the color of the paste in my jar. Okay, I think this is good. And I'm going to use one of my cut up squeegees here. Now I cannot, oops, went right over some flowers, that's okay. I cannot return this paste back to the jar because I have mixed up chalk paste on it, mixed up color. So I'll just throw that away. And I do have a fair amount of excess here. Let me wipe this off. And now go about cleaning it up. Oops, I want to get the edge of that leaf. Unfortunately, I can't tell where the flowers are now, but that's fine because they're going to be hidden anyway with the paper flowers. Okay, I have some edges of my leaves here that really didn't get enough paste. There we go. Cover them up. And remove these lines. Okay, I think I have the excess chalk paste removed. I need to get that leaf right there, or the stems. Miss that, and miss that little edge. Do I have anything else that I need to add here? Good idea to check your work before you lift the transfer. Okay. I'm lifting by the corners, but I'm not pulling, just because I can't gain purchase here. So okay, I went a little bit into the flower there, but that's okay because I'm going to put paper flowers there. Let me run this over to the sink, and I need to take care of my little oops on the bottom there. So I have a wet paper towel. I've just moistened it a little bit, and I'm going to remove that chalk paste before it dries. And I think that works pretty well. I was wondering if the Mod Podge would help in that area in case I made any mistakes. I don't know if it's, you know, I've made a mistake before and wiped it up without it, so I don't really know if it was worth using it or not. Time will tell, I guess. Okay, so what I'm thinking on here, obviously this isn't dry, but I was thinking of just using some glue dots with my paper flowers to add the flowers to this project. And oh, I have a bunch of them here. I had kind of already laid this out. Oops. No, I don't think I want that. So let's see if my glue dots work on the canvas. They sure work on my finger, I'll tell you that much. I don't know if they're going to work on the paper flowers or not. I might need to use a different type of glue. Let me try this again. Wait, can you tell why I don't like using a glue gun? I'm a little clumsy here. Okay, that looks like it's sticking well. So I'm just pressing my flower down on my glue dot before I lift it off its backing. Oh, these are big glue dots, dang. Okay. And they're stuck to my fingers. Oh, funny. I find crafting to be a great stress reliever and a nice way to mellow out and relax. Takes my mind off the things that are going on in the world and just basically gives me a little bit of a break, a little respite. And I think we all need that. I think we need a way of expressing our creativity, a way of getting away from it all, and just basically getting in that zone where everything falls away and you're just basically doing what you're doing without worrying about all the other things going on in the world. Need more glue dots. My big problem is I'm getting them stuck to myself. Okay, do we want maybe the lighter pink? Yeah, I think maybe the lighter one goes well there. So I'm pressing it onto the glue dot and then grabbing it from the backer. So while it might not quite be spring outside, this project could bring a little bit of spring indoors. I want some of the lighter pink here. I painted some of these with chalk paste, watered down chalk paste, to get the deeper color. And I was like, try it, let's see if I like it or not. My logic at the time was to get them to blend with the paste. On this other project. What do you think? Add it or no? I think I'm going to move this up out of my way a little bit and add this one. My box of glue dots. Here we go. Are you part of my VIP group? Would you like to be privy to additional projects, tips, tricks, and special pricing on bundles? If so, comment VIP below, and I will add you to my VIP group. I want to adjust that a little bit. There we go. I think that looks a little bit better. I think that's it, maybe? If you'd like to get a little box of creativity showing up on your doorstep every month, think about joining our Club Couture. Club Couture offers subscribers exclusive transfers, exclusive to members and to designers, every month for only $19.99 US, and that includes shipping. Am I going a little bit overboard with the flowers? Too much? Too little? I think I want to hide that. I don't like the green there. The club subscription includes a reusable transfer, like I said, exclusive to members and to designers, and individual chalk paste packets to complete your project. All for only $19.99. No additional shipping. What do you think? A little bit of spring? Does this little heart need anything? A flower, perhaps? Maybe we should go with the light pink? Oh yeah. So if you're interested in Club Couture, just comment club below and I'll send you some information about it. So here's our projects. Well, there you go. 3 little projects in less than an hour. If you have any questions or comments, please comment below, or you can always email me at craftwithkathie, Kathie, @gmail.com, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful life.